Hi, welcome to Conversations with Coach Lloyd. I'm Coach Lloyd, 25-time Ironman and first African-American to finish an Ironman on all 6 continents. Today, my guest is Colonel Yvonne Spencer. She is an 8-time Ironman and long course finisher. She is a 2021 USA Long Course Triathlon team member and multiple years all-world athlete. In addition to numerous triathlons in all distances, she's an avid runner who has completed over 14 marathons, including qualifying for the 2020 Boston Marathon. She started coaching in 2017 and is a USA Triathlon Level 1 certified coach and Road Runners Club of America certified coach. In a 27-year military career, Vaughn has served in a variety of leadership positions and has commanded organizations ranging from 300 to 1,200 personnel. Despite living in 5 countries and relocating 14 times, triathlon has been a constant in her life. It has been key to her resiliency and work-life balance. In 2015, Vaughn translated her leadership talents into building a supportive and empowering network of women known as the Fast Chicks. It's a national women's triathlon group that strives to remove barriers by empowering and educating women. Fast Chicks provides a positive engagement, shared experiences, and a supportive environment for triathletes at all levels. Fast Chicks efforts include annual race meetups, educational clinics, fitness panels, book clubs, and monthly challenges. While the group is primarily women of color, to date, Fast Chicks has over 1,000 online members. All right, please welcome my guest, Colonel Yvonne Spencer.
Good evening.
How are you doing, Vaughn?
I am well. Thank you for having me here.
I'm just, first of all, thank you for your service. I've known you for a long time, but I never knew you were in the military for that long. It's like, wow. And a colonel, that's big time. From talking to everyone, I was like, wow. When I say I know a colonel, it's like, wow, okay. You moved up. You moved up. So one thing's, there's so much to cover that I figure I'll jump right in with. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about how you started as a triathlete?
I started back in, my first triathlon was in the year of 2000.
Okay.
So it was a minute ago. And it started on a conversation on a training run. I was training for the Air Force Marathon with a friend of mine who was getting ready to embark upon his first triathlon. And as we were chatting, and I just threw out there, I was like, oh, that sounds like something I might want to do one day. And I just forgot all about it. And after we did the we did the marathon, we get back into the office because he was a coworker of mine, and he said, all right, let's go. And I said, well, where are we going? He said, we're going to get you a bike. Well, what do I need a bike for? He said, because you're going to do a triathlon. I was like, okay, apparently it's something I had said one time. So we went, I bought a bike. He set us up with the training plan, and I did the training. I registered for the Columbia Triathlon.
Okay.
Because that was in my neck of the woods, right? It was home.
Yeah.
Homegirls would be there. And so that's the one I registered for. And that was one of the first ones I did not finish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just a little bit of Black history fact.
So what let's, that's an interesting topic right there. DNFs.
Yes.
So what do you recall what led to that DNF? Was it lack of training? Was it just the nerves that got to you?
It was not the lack of training because I had put in the work.
Okay.
It was a lack of time in open water and getting comfortable with open water.
Okay.
When I got into that water in my wetsuit and they blew the whistle, panic just overcame me, and I could not get it together, no matter what. And so I swam to a kayak, and I couldn't get my brain around the fact that I needed to finish this race.
Okay.
And I went right on back to the shore. I stomped and picked up my bike and went home. And there may have been some tears, but I was really, really mad. So I complained, I stomped, I took a little nap like a 4-year-old, because that's what 4-year-olds do when they get upset. And then after I woke up and my mom had calmed me down and everything, I got back online and signed up for another one. And I was able to finish that one. But the first one, it was a no dice.
No, okay. See, I like the fact that you said that it wasn't the training.
It wasn't the training. No.
Over the years, you hear conversations, you hear people talking, and sometimes they make the mistake of saying, "Oh, that person should have trained more, and that was why they didn't finish." And I'm quick to always, correct that misnomer to say, that has nothing to do with a DNF.
Yeah.
Did not finish for those who are unfamiliar.
My second DNF, it was all about the training. So but this first one, really, and we had done open water swims.
Okay.
Off of Virginia Beach in the Bay. And so I thought I was ready. But on race day, it was the people around me. It was the open water, and the things underneath the water were squishy, and stuff was touching me. And it was everything that was in my head. And I didn't have a mechanism to outthink myself and to continue on with the race.
So now fast forward, what mechanisms do you have in place now to deal with the squishy feeling, the whistle going off, the unknown of open water, the mental game that it is, because it's way different from pool swimming. People can go in the pool, they can crank out the entire race distance like if it's nothing on any given Tuesday.
Yeah.
But there's something different about open water. So
when something touches your foot and you don't know what it is, game over.
And especially for those of us with creative imaginations,
yes.
Your mind can go wild with what that is.
Oh,
so what mechanisms are you doing now?
I have the mantra and I have the words that I tell myself. You have done this distance. You can do this.
Okay.
I just remind myself, you can do this. This is what you train for, you sacrifice for. Now let's just get it done.
Okay.
And it's a little bit of tough love in my head.
Okay. And
then the second part is I have my village that is around me, and whether I hear them, at an overpass yelling at me, swim, Vaughn, come on, Vaughn, let's go. Or just, I don't want to do the walk of shame and not finishing. So I've got the village and I've got the words in my head.
Okay.
You can do this. You before, you could do it today.
So are there any additional steps that you do leading in as far as training? Because one time the training was fine, the other time the training wasn't. So that, when the whistle goes off, you've got your mantra. Are you doing more open water swims before you go do a race? Are you, finding that opportunity now just so that, you work through those nerves?
I am doing more open water before the race, and I'm also taking advantage of any type of practice swim that they have in the actual body of water.
Okay.
And I find that helps me as well. And even if the practice swim is before the race, sometimes they'll let you in the water before the race to do a warm up. Mm-hmm. And that helps me calm myself down. And, I put my face in the water and figure it out. And I also start in the back.
Okay.
Because there's no need for me to be up front. Because
Now I'm gonna have you expound on that just a little bit, because with your years of experience, people would make the assumption that, she's a veteran, she's gonna be way up in the front leading the pack, but that's not necessarily the case. You're telling me, hey, you know what? based on your history, based on what you know about your ability and where you're comfortable, you're starting in the back.
Right. So some races will allow you to self-seed.
Okay.
So based upon what you expect your finish time to be or your average 100-yard pace, you can seed yourself in some races. And I like that, because then I know that the people that I'm with, the pack that I'm swimming with, I'm going to be finishing around the same time.
Okay. So you're honest with what I'm going to be able to
I'm
do
honest.
that day.
I'm not trying to get the extra, because if you're in the front, that's when you get the bows, the kicks, because those people are trying to win it. They're trying to win it. You're not going to win it in the swim, but you can lose it.
You can lose it in the swim. So being honest with yourself, so you know exactly where you need to seed yourself is a key factor here.
It is. It is. And, you know, getting around that group of folks, and, you know, even if it's towards the middle back, that's my comfort zone, because I also don't want to start in the front and then more fast people are swimming over me. Got you. So I just get comfortable. I was like, oh, I'll just start right back here, because I'm okay with that. Okay. Because the couple 2-3 minutes that I may gain in the swim, I'm fairly confident I could gain it on the bike and then gain a little bit more on the run, because that's my jam.
Okay.
So it's really just being honest with yourself and knowing who you are, and not trying to get, or thinking you're going to get that extra time if you start in the front. It's even more tumultuous if you're starting in the front, and you really shouldn't be up there.
Okay. So. Now you started with, I think Maryland was a sprint or Olympic. I can't remember if it was an Olympic or distance back then, or was it? It
was an Olympic. It was
okay.
An Olympic.
So did you progress through the half and then the full, or did you just jump straight to the full? How long of a window are we talking when you decided that, all right, I've done the Olympic, I've got that under my belt, let me try something different?
I was stationed in Hawaii from 2003 to 2006. And I did a triathlon, it seemed, every damn weekend.
I would too. Okay.
You know, so you've got, I built up from the Olympic. They had a 10-man, which was kind of in between. And then I branched out to the half. And at that time, they were doing a half on the Kona course.
Oh, okay.
On the Big Island. So that was a lot of fun. It was very hot, a lot of lava rocks emanating the heat. But I built myself up to the challenge of, okay, now it's time for a full. And actually the decision to do a full was made after a few brown liquid glasses of adult beverages on a Saturday night. So.
I suspect a lot of trash talking and random commentary.
It was a lot. I was like, how hard can it be? You know, we'll do Florida. Florida's easy. It's flat, blah, blah, blah. And
so that's 2000. And what year are we in now when you're doing your first full?
My first full was in 2006.
Okay.
So late, November of 2006.
Okay, so we've got some time. So
we've got time.
It's not now you'll see a lot of athletes, as you know, the only thing they are aware of is Ironman. So the first thing they want to do is, I don't know how to swim, but I want to do an Ironman. Versus, hey, you know what? I'll start with a sprint or an Olympic, eventually move to a half, eventually move to a full. So I'm glad to see that, you know, with someone with your experience, it wasn't just, 0 to 60 on day one. It was, hey,
it was not. Especially when you're dealing with an open water, an ocean swim.
Okay.
So in Hawaii, that's all I swam in was the ocean. So I was comfortable in the ocean swim. So Florida was nothing but a thing for me. I didn't even really think about it. But, you're right. There's folks that are like, oh, I want to do the full. And I'm not one to discourage anyone.
Okay.
But I do give you some helpful advice and what it may take. Because I have friends that have gone from a sprint to a full, but they were already fairly good athletes just in general.
Okay, right.
And had the mindset, had the time, and they were really willing to put in the work.
Okay.
And they were able to get to the finish line. And a sprint to an Ironman is not for everybody.
That is true. That is true.
Know thyself. That is a reoccurring theme here.
and I'm sure as a USA Triathlon coach, you have to have those conversations with your athletes on a regular basis.
You do.
That honest dialogue so that everyone, you're not squashing their dreams, but you're giving them honest feedback.
Well, you start breaking down the times and the cutoffs. Okay, you'll need to swim in this amount of time. And then you don't have a lot of time in transition. Your bike will need to be here. So you'll need to have a certain average pace. So when you start speaking to them in terms of where you are right now and where you would need to be, and anything can happen on race day.
That is true.
The flat is not free chicken. I actually don't like flat bike courses.
I'm with you on that. I think, those who say that that's what they like, I suggest that they, aren't familiar enough with cycling and they have the misconception that flat is easy.
Oh my good. And that's what I tell folks, because folks are like, oh, I want to, what's a flat course? I'm like, ma'am, that might not be what you want.
That is, I've done a few flats and I will always take a hilly course over anything that says it's flat.
Flats hurt.
They do.
They really do hurt.
They do. So
I try to encourage folks, and then you have to find out, well, why do you want to do a full? Like, do you understand that's a really long day? And for 6, 7, 8 months, you may not see your family. You have to balance it out for folks.
So going on to your that first Ironman, can you walk me through that experience? First time, I suspect if we're talking 2006, you may have been the only person who looks like you.
So I remember there may have been one other female, and I want to say there was another black male, and it might have been Mo Wills, because he and I were talking about this, and that we may have done the same race. So there were a couple, 2, 3 of us out there, but there were not a lot. There were not a lot. But it was, I think about it in retrospect, but when I was out there on the course, I was actually having a fun day.
Okay.
I mean, I stopped. I went to the bathroom. I talked to people.
You were out there making friends.
Say again?
You were out there making friends.
I was making friends. And and my finish time was pretty decent,
Okay.
I just 13, 18.
Oh, that's really good.
I was just out there having fun. And I enjoyed that day. Even though O'Reilly, he pronounced my name wrong. He called me Speckner, but I'm trying to let that go after so many years.
You gotta hit him up before the race. At the athlete dinner.
How do you mess up Spencer? And I
know your name.
I took full advantage of everything. I went to the dinner. I did all the things.
Now I've got Lily here asking a question about why not flat. We glossed over it.
Oh.
So dive into, why not flat bike courses?
Well, flat bike courses mean all you're doing with your legs is spinning. So, imagine, Lily, you on your trainer for 6, 7, 8 hours. That's what a flat course is like. And then throw in there the wind that will never, ever, ever be in your back. There's no such thing as a tailwind, ever. Like, it's mythical.
They always promise that, but there's always a headwind.
Turn around.
no matter which direction I'm going, I seem to always get the headwind or crosswind, never the tailwind on a flat course.
So it's spin, spin, spin. There's really no relief, you know, and you should learn to stand up a little bit, you know, do some different type of pedal strokes, but it is just spin, spin, spin.
Right.
So there's your legs are constantly going, which also wears you out a little bit more for the run. And even if the run is flat, I learned with Maryland, you know, usually I'm able to go on that run. It was a flat course, but I couldn't go because I had gone on the bike with the wind and, you know, just working through. So it's not, like I said, there's no free chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the one thing. If you're not comfortable just staying in the exact same gear, you're never going to change gears on a flat course. You're just going to ride it out. No change in muscle groups, nothing. It's just nothing. And if those muscles go out, that's pretty much the day. You stop pedaling and that's a wrap. That's it.
Because at least if you're on a hilly course, you know, of course you're going to get up that hill and it's going to be, you know, a little bit harder, but then you can coast a little bit, you know, or you have some free spinning that's happening and then you're spinning and you're getting back up the next hill. And so there's some variation with even your body position if you're on some type of hilly course. But if you're on a flat, you're just on a flat. So you knocked out Florida and then you moved on and, you know, now we're at 8 Ironman races. What kept you going to keep doing more and more of them? Well, so I did Florida and then, peer pressure was my next one, which was Arizona. So same friend that got me into doing Florida, she was doing Arizona. So I was like, yeah, I'll do Arizona. Arizona was a DNF.
Okay.
And that was because I rested on my laurels because I said, well, you've already done one Ironman. Clearly you have the muscle memory to do another one. So just, you know, sporadically do your training. I didn't really focus on my training.
Okay.
I had other life events that were happening. I was moving to a new job, new city, etc. And I just didn't put the effort in there. And it showed at mile 83 on the bike when they told me, we don't need you to get in this truck right here. So I was like, well, you could have told me before I started climbing up the hill, but it's all good. Like you could have and it told me.
Yeah, their sense of timing is always off on those types of things. I've been at races where I'm like, you know, there's no good way to deliver the news, but the way you're delivering it is horrible. I mean, it's horrible. I've seen them wait till folks go around, you know, certain sections on the run and then stop them. It's like, you know, you should have stopped them a little here or there versus the other spot. So you didn't put the time in, life happens. And, you know, I guess that just happens to everybody. But you bounced back from that one. And
I bounced back and I had to do Arizona again.
Okay.
Because I didn't finish that year. So clearly I have to do it again. And so I did Arizona again and I finished. Wasn't my best, but I finished.
Okay.
So we'll go with that. And then we did, there's a theme here. I'm always doing my races with my friend Mags Morris. Then we did Louisville. Okay. And Louisville, I did not train on the correct terrain. So I was in Oklahoma. I trained on a lot of flat and windy. That
are you going to Florida again?
For hilly.
That's not Louisville.
That's not Louisville.
No.
So I was on the bike for 8 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay. It's still doable.
I mean, I finished.
That was you know, you should have had some extra time on the swim, or else your nerves. You were probably biting your nails as to, you know, what the rest of the day was going to look like at that point.
I did. Well, I still, I still had the strong, legs for the run. And the run is relatively flat. And I had a good swim, so I was feeling good. But the bike stole my soul. And 8 hours of that was a work day in overtime.
Yeah. With no lunch break or anything.
Nothing.
Now, out of all the ones you've done, which one is your favorite Ironman race to date?
Well, I'm gonna have to go with two.
Okay.
So the second time I did Louisville, that was when BTA had it was like 30 of us.
Okay. And BTA is the Black Triathlete Association.
Black Triathletes Association, yes.
Okay.
And I enjoyed that race because we were all together. And it was this family that was out there racing. So no matter where I was on the course, there was someone that I knew, someone that looked familiar. Even my my coach did the race.
Yeah.
And so, it's a loop course on the bike. I'm on loop 1. Of course, he's on loop 2, about to get on the run. And he rides by me. He's like, "You go, girl." And I was like, "All right, coach. Fine, let's go." And then, I get out on the run, and Khadijah Diggs is out there, and Keith is out there from Virginia, and they're all encouraging, saying things like "Catch me, Vaughn," and "Don't let me beat you to the end." And so it was a family affair.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when they were organizing that one. I know a couple of friends of mine who got in. So unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to do that one, but that was definitely one I wanted to do with that group.
It was great.
I heard.
Then the second one would be it was a 2018. 2020 has messed me up with time zone.
it has the dates off.
Yes. So 2018, when there were 14 of us that did Ironman Arizona.
Okay.
And it was at least 10 fast chicks out there on that course. And that was just freaking sweet.
Wow.
Even though the swim was very, very cold, and I almost swam back to the shore again. Bruh.
Yeah, that the man-made lake they have there is pretty cold.
It was 56 degrees, I think. And no one had hit me to the insulated wetsuit or anything like that. And it was just a really, really miserable swim. But then once I got out there and once again, seeing my girls on the course and cheering for folks, and then the loops. And so those are my favorites.
Okay. Those are two good ones.
Yeah.
Now, having done that, you mentioned that this last race, you had a lot of fast chicks. How did that, well, first off, after being an athlete for so long, what made you decide that you wanted to be a coach?
Because I saw the questions that the ladies were asking on Fast Chicks, and I wanted to be able to provide some structure to the way that I was helping them. So I've been coached for a while, since 2014, and I wanted to be able to take some of those things that I learned from being coached and being an athlete to now what's the structure of the actual coaching process. So building the plans, the build, the base, the peak time, and making sure that I was doing right by the individuals that I was helping. And so I wanted to help others to reach that finish line and to reach it faster than maybe they did in the past.
Okay. So I mean, now you guys have, 1,000 members on the team. I mean, that just sounds incredible. I mean, that's a huge presence.
Yeah.
And I know you guys often meet up at races. How does that come about? Do you pick the races? The team pick the races? How does that work?
We do a little poll. So our first meetup was at Rev 3, and we had such a great time that we wanted to do another meetup, but we picked a different race, and that was at Tri-AC.
Okay.
But then we ran into the race director from Rev 3, and we're like, "Hey, man, we need to do Rev 3 again." So I'm not saying that we were the impetus for it, but we were the impetus for it.
A nice suggestion never hurt.
Right, exactly. So in talking with him and just the things that he wanted to do to open up the sport to more minorities, to different types of folks. And, you know, for a race director to reach out and say, hey, I'm going to roll out the red carpet for y'all. What do y'all need? Y'all need tents? Look, here's my contact for a tent. They'll be able to hook you up. What else y'all need? Well, I like that. VIP service, we are all about that. And we just had a really good time with that particular venue with the Rev 3 connection. And so when we put it to a vote, we're like, we're going to do Rev 3 again because that particular audience, they want us there. And it's close to a lot of the folks in the DMV. And it has different, we also pick a race that has the different distances.
Okay.
And the relay options, because one of the tenets of Fast Chicks is that we want to expose more women of color to the sport. So whether you're on a relay and you're doing the run leg, you still gonna see what a triathlon is all about. You're gonna be a part of that. Or if you're volunteering, you're gonna be exposed to the sport. And maybe in your mind, you'll say, if she can do it, I can do it.
Okay. Okay. I like that.
Yes.
Now, having started back in 2000 and doing that Ironman in 06, I've been racing about the same amount of time. How has it significantly changed for people of color when you go out and see, you know, to different races? There
are more. I can't do the numbers because I'm not a statistician, but I'm telling you, it's multitude. It's by tens, you know, tens more than what I'm used to seeing. Even when I go to the different triathlon clubs. Now, granted, I've been in clubs in Montana and Washington State, and that looks a little different. But when I go out to, you know, different races, like I was out in Boulder, I was like, hey, you see more faces out there, like, hey, you know, and you just, it feels better. I mean, that we're seeing more faces, and that's another goal is just to empower women to want to be a part of the sport. Allow them to, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, what do you think led to that change from when, you know, you first started to now, where we now see more? I mean, I know we were just in a group conversation, and you know, when I looked at the list, someone posed a question as to, you know, how long have you been doing tries?
Yeah.
And, you know, when are you going to stop? And when I looked at the list, I realized there were probably just a handful of people who've been doing it for a while. And on that list, I realized that all of us had raced together in the early days of racing because we all interacted with a similar circle then. And, you know, the conversation now is people are still saying, hey, we still need more. But when someone like you've been racing for a while, you look at it, it's like, from where you started to where it is now, it seems like more.
It is a lot more. It is a lot more. And, you know, I'm going to have to give some of the credit to organizations like Black Triathletes Association, you know, even the Mermaid Swim, different groups that are out there. There's a group in Charlotte, you know, realize your potential every day. So there's little pockets of, I'll call it pockets of excellence that people see, and FOMO is a real thing. You don't want to miss out on it. When we went to Chicago with BTA that one year, I mean, we brought the gang, and folks saw it and they wanted to be a part of that. And then the second piece is, okay, now you want to be a part of it. Now let's help you put those pieces and parts together. Let's help you find a coach. Let's help you learn how to swim. Let's help you, you know, get that bike right and et cetera. So that now I think we're in the next phase of bringing more folks to the race. And it's now let's start providing some resources and some tools.
Okay.
To those that are in the game.
So that's the next step, right? Is just more access, more availability. And I guess what you described with that VIP treatment from the race director, who's like, hey, I want you at my event. So
I mean, if you reach out and say, hey, I got a 10% code off or a 15%, and we're gonna do this for your group when they arrive, yeah, I'd like to be a part of that.
Nothing like a little incentive and that feeling of being wanted.
Yes.
Now,
Absolutely.
one of the other thing I know of you is that you're a sponsored athlete, and you're associated with Betty.
Mm-hmm.
So let folks know what Betty is and a little bit about that.
So Betty Designs. I want to call her the Gucci of triathlon apparel. But yeah, it's an apparel brand, but she also has a team, and she has actually two teams. One is the elite, and then the other are the ladies that are on the team, and we represent the brand. Just the badassness, the endurance couture is what we are, and just another opportunity of fellowship. And these ladies are from all over, from Mexico, Germany, Brazil. Just it's a worldwide organization, and I love those ladies. We have a lot of good times. We have meetups, camps. They inspire me because I mean these ladies are going to Kona, and they do the mountain biking, and they're always on the podium, and etc. And just in the mix of who they are. There's much like in Fast Chicks, but you got lawyers, you got doctors, and you name it. These professional women that have this gig on the side of where they like to be a badass on the race course.
Okay.
And it's all goodness.
So did you call them and say, hey, I want to be, I want to be a badass too, or did they find you? How'd that work?
Actually, one of the team members reached out to me and said, hey, you need to, because you fill out the application to be on the Betty squad. And typically there's 3,000 to 4,000 applications that she gets every year. Yes. And so the team, this year we're at about 175. A couple years prior, it was around 100, 125. And that's what it's made of. So I submitted my application, and I'm sure that there were some other words. It was like, yeah, you need Vaughn on your team. Boop, boop, boop. And I was the second. So we'll say the first African-American. There was another woman of color that was on the team as well.
Okay.
Who was from Syrian background. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It fit me and the gloss and all that goodness. So it's a good partnership with Fast Chick. She designed our kits, and we also get discounts on her apparel. So it's a good thing.
Yep. That's really nice. Yeah, I mean, having a nice kit where folks can recognize you is always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can, as a coach, I'm sure you like it when you can spot your athletes out of a crowd. Designs have come a long way, but initially it was just either black or blue and nothing fancy. So,
yes.
so when athletes run by, it was hard to tell who you were with.
Or the black shorts.
Or the other black shorts.
Or the other black shorts.
But you have to make sure you held them up to the light just to make sure they were still good.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
Well, whereas now I know with your team, as soon as you do a race, it's like, I've been to races with your team, and it's great when I know who I'm ringing my cowbell for. It's like, yeah, I'm just looking for the kit. Where's the Fast Chicks kit? The Betty design, perfect. Now I know who I'm looking for. Even though they're like, who's the guy ringing the cowbell?
We don't care. We love you.
Right.
More cowbell.
Now, where the lip gloss? What is that about?
I don't even remember.
I see that everywhere. That's.
I started. Oh my gosh! Maybe it was like 2011, 2012. I just started adding a little lip gloss, and then when I was taking my race photo, I was like, "Oh, I need my lip gloss." And it became a thing. And now when I look at photos where I don't have any lip gloss, I'm like, ooh, that doesn't even look right. So it's, yeah, because you also want to look good while you're on the race course.
Absolutely.
So you look good, you race good.
I know probably like you, we've had clinics for first time athletes with, you know, you have transition clinics and then you have photo clinics. Like, you know, don't do all of that hard work and have terrible race pictures. You know,
yes.
Wipe the salt off of your face, you know, get that fresh look when you know the camera's coming. Yes. You know, I know in the past I've scouted out where the photographers are to let my athletes know, hey, you know, at this mile, you know, when you turn that bend, make sure you're smiling. So for your team, it's more, you know, have your lip gloss ready.
Right. Or the gloss that stays.
Okay.
You know, so there's probably some chats on the Facebook, the Fast Chicks page talking about what gloss you use that stays. Or you have a replacement gloss. I used to just put a little replacement gloss in the back of my little pocket on my track kit or on my bike in a little go bag. So little tricks of the trade.
Absolutely. So someone here has a question for you, asking to talk more about the need for a coach if they're trying to go from. That's Lenora asking about going from a sprint to a full, okay. Starting from ground zero for the swim, bike, and run. She's not clear how a coach or using a coach would be beneficial. So can you expound on, you know, the value of having a coach?
Yes. So it is, I'm going to say it's individually based on what type of athlete you are. Are you the type that is coachable, that can get feedback, whether good or bad, act upon it, and then move on?
Now I'm going to put a pin right there before you move forward, and you're gonna have to flush that out a little bit more. You can't just drop that nugget and walk away.
Okay, so
expound on that so new athletes can kind of get a good understanding of what that means, you know, when they're looking for a coach and what their expectations would be. Then I'll let you continue on that train of thought.
So it means, do you listen well to constructive criticism? Or do you know more than anyone else about what you need to do? If someone gives you, hey, I need you to, you know, run from here to here in this amount of time, are you questioning? Are you making excuses as to why you couldn't run from there to a certain amount of time? Are you giving, I don't want to say it's like talk back, but there are athletes that will talk back or argue with the coach when the coach is the one that you hired to make you better. And what you need to do is trust that that coach has the training and the understanding and the knowledge to give you the tools that you need to be better. You also have to not listen to all of the other free coaches that are out there, meaning the blast on Facebook asking questions about some type of training that your coach has told you need to do, and you're getting a second opinion.
So are you saying that the internet
It's like WebMD? You know, when you come in, you're like, hey doc, I looked on WebMD and it says that I have bursitis of the lip. And the doctor's like, no, that's not what you have. But this is what it says. So you've got to trust that coach is going to give you the boundaries. And I look for my coach to keep me from jumping off the roof and doing too much and injuring myself. Mm-hmm. And really that is what it's about, particularly when you're going to the full, because you need someone from the outside looking in, looking at your fatigue levels, looking at how well you're performing one week to another and putting it all together and saying, okay, you didn't do so well this week. What's going on? Maybe we need to give you a lighter week here and let's help you build back up. So a coach is really good for giving you a lot of the mechanics that you will need and to keep you from injuring yourself and overuse.
I couldn't say it better.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I needed one, and I had to have a friend of mine tell me, you need a coach. She's like, you're training, you're all over the place. Like, what are you doing right now with your life? Well, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. You need a coach.
Right. And again, not everyone needs a coach.
Right. Now, if you can, so my first triathlon, my first full, and the second one, I used the Be Iron Fit book, because I was able to read it, understanding. I just did the training to just finish, and I finished. But I had the personal discipline, probably from that military background I got, to look at the schedule. I liked the organization. I put in the time, and the results were as advertised in the book. But there's some folks that may want to join their friends on a 100-mile ride when they really only need to be doing 50 miles, or join their friend on this, and you need something that says, nah, you might not want to do that. Let's look at your goals and look at where you are, and then provide some realism.
So if someone's looking for coaching services, that's something you also do, correct?
Yes. So Fast Sticks coaching, woo. And it's geared towards beginners and also intermediate type, those that have a basic, understanding of the triathlon, and to help them get to that next level. And coaching is important because it's also agreement between you and that coach. You have to put in the work that they give you to do. I lost. I remember when we talked about you can't win with the swim, but you can lose.
Yep.
So I lost the first place podium because my swim was bad. I mean, once I got out the swim, I chased down and I ended up in second place.
Okay.
But had I swam better, I wouldn't have had any problems being in first place.
Okay.
Right. So when I called my coach, he said, well, what had happened? I said, my swim. He's like, I wonder why. I was like, yes, coach. I didn't do all the swims you told me to do. Like, okay, what did we learn?
Yeah. And the good thing is, when you're dealing with a coach, everyone's interaction with their coach is different. So you've got to find a coach that's going to give you what you need, because different coaches provide different services, different approaches. So, it's definitely about figuring out what you need and then being willing to listen. I mean, a friend of mine once told me, like, if you're paying for it, if you're not going to listen to your coach when you're paying for it, then, what's the point?
Yeah. Because, there are coaches out there. I don't know any of them, but there's coaches that will take your money. They will lay out the plan. You can do it or not do it. And then you also have to ask the coaches if they have different levels of training packages, because some could be just a plan where they give you the plan layout and then you follow it. Some are more interactive, hands-on. I know with COVID, it's a little bit challenging, but perhaps you may say, hey, I really need more in the swim category. So maybe this coach isn't for me because he or she won't be able to take the time, or et cetera. So just do some fishing around and some searching about, that coach is going to work for you, and that's going to get you. Because it's a relationship. I told my coach, I was like, we can't never break up. So it's a relationship. His wife loves that, by the way. But
no, it is. I mean, you definitely have to trust your coach. That's definitely a key factor based on that, the relationship that you build. So now moving into more and more of your triathlons, you're doing fulls, you're doing marathons. I saw that with all the marathons that you've done, you also qualified for Boston. How was that experience qualifying for Boston?
Oh my gosh, I was so excited. So it was the same year that we did Ironman Arizona.
Okay.
So I took a month off, still had some runs in there, and then I ran Jacksonville.
Oh, okay.
Which was a relatively flat course. The weather was perfect, and I was just ready. I had the pace that I needed to hit And one of my running boos, B, she surprised me. Everyone knows B Offrey, but she surprised me. She was actually at the race because I was texting her nervous. What should I wear? Do I wear the shirt? I mean, everything had me panicking. Just run. And so it was amazing to get to that finish line, and I had at least 4 or 5 minutes to spare because you always want that cushion, because you never know how many they're going to let in. So it was really, I felt prepared, I felt comfortable, I felt that my coach we had done the right thing because he knew what I was trying to do, and we set out our plan of attack, and it just laid out perfectly. So I was pumped because I've been doing marathons since '97.
Okay.
And I finally decided, I should probably try to qualify for this Boston thing. So
might as well, since it's there.
I might as well. I'm going to build on the fitness that I had for Ironman Arizona. Mm-hmm. I took the rest time off and one more long run just to make sure my legs still worked, and went out and did the thing.
Okay.
So I was excited.
So I know it got rescheduled and all of that. So is the plan to do it in September?
It's October 11th.
Oh, okay. I know they switched the date. Okay.
Yeah. So it's October 11th. And the month before that, I will be representing Team USA at the ITU Worlds for the long course.
Okay. Where is that going to take place?
That is in the Netherlands, Amsterdam.
Oh, Amsterdam, right. Almere. You're going to love that town.
Am I going to love the course?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Almere is a really nice, it has a really nice course. Did that one in 2019. And the swim is pretty nice. The bike and the run are nice.
Okay.
So.
And we are trying to, I think we've got 14 or 15 African-Americans on the Team USA Triathlon.
Okay. Now, so what race did you do to get on the USA team?
It was the Miami Man, which is in November.
Okay.
Florida.
Okay.
And so it was, I didn't really feel like doing it, but Khadijah said I needed to do it because we need to have representation, and I followed her lead. So I was out there, Kadase Brown, Joy Miles, Natalie, Valera was out there. And then there were a couple more, Maurice Fitz, okay. I think. And there were a couple more, I can't remember the names, but we're going to be showing up and showing out.
Okay. I look forward to that one. I mean, hopefully they'll broadcast it. I know they usually have the finish line and some other live coverage. So
we'll just make sure we're in front for all the pictures, because that's really what it's about.
for the cover photo that they present to the show.
Yes, but we want people to know that we are here, and that we're here. We're doing our best. We're getting on podiums. We're making a difference. We're not just the slouches that you may think we are. We do belong.
Absolutely. And
so
now that so many more athletes of color are racing domestically, I think the next thing is to get us out there doing international, which you guys are doing now. So that's great. Laura asked the question of what long course race do you have planned once races start back up again?
I've got the half at Rev 3, which is the Fast Chicks meetup. Woo, woo. June 26th and 27th.
June 26th and 27th. Okay.
Yes. As of, in 2020, we had 117 registered.
Wow.
And I think that number might bump up a little bit or maybe balance out. It depends. So that's the 70.3 that I have planned. And then I'll be focusing on ITU Worlds, which is in September.
Okay.
And taking a little bit of time off, and then Boston, which will be October 11th.
Okay.
That's right. That's about right.
Okay.
Because it's September 12th or 13th.
Yeah, I was just doing a quick
4 weeks? I'm not racing for anything in Boston.
No.
I'm just buying all the stuff.
Well, I just so you're clear, when you go to Boston, you may not be planning to race, but just be prepared to race.
Oh,
that I'm just going to give you a word of advice on that one. You may show up on the line, but when the gun goes off and you're in your designated corral, don't be surprised.
Racing, though.
Don't be surprised if you start to race at the same pace you used to qualify.
No. Nope. I'm chilling.
I'm not saying you won't, but I wouldn't be a good friend if I just didn't advise you what to look out for.
Okay. Taking notes.
Yeah, just be prepared that you're gonna have to mentally choose not to.
Absolutely.
It won't just happen.
Got it.
So before I let you go, a couple of things I just want to touch on again. So for beginner athletes, what would be kind of like one tip you would give to someone who's just starting out or thinking about doing a try that they should really look into or they need to do? What kind of advice would you give someone who's just starting out?
2. The first one is I repeat, do not compare yourself to anyone else.
Ooh.
Your journey is your journey alone. So don't look at your girlfriend over there. Say, oh, she can do this or she can do that. She is not you. You are not she. So focus on you, your capabilities, your abilities of where you are. So use what you have to get where you need to go. And the second piece is balance out your request for advice. I do not recommend an all call on any of the triathlon pages if you can resist, because you will get 7 different answers, which are all different in response to your one request. And sign up for the Fast Chicks virtual triathlon clinic in March.
I love it. Now, so now that we've got the beginners out of the way, what advice would you give? I like to classify them as my experienced strugglers, those who have been in the game for a while. They're hooked on the sport, but you kind of hit that plateau. So you've been doing it, but hey, we can always use some advice and some tips because you always pick up new nuggets. I know I've picked up some great gems from you, like with my to-go bag on races and transition.
The go bag is money.
And that's part of all the clinics now. The to-go bag. That's so that's just to say that even if you've been doing it for a while. So for my experienced strugglers, folks who've been doing racing for a while, what's a couple, advice tips that you would give to them?
If you are struggling, do something else. Just try something else. Try an Xterra, where you canoe, you do a mountain bike and you run, or try trail running. Just try something different to get your mind off of this focus with the triathlon in specifics. Just take a minute, take a break. I promise you'll be able to go back to it. And also find your tribe, find your village. My village makes it fun. Even if I am not racing, I am out there cheering on, or I will be out there cheering on someone else. Ironman Maryland, my girl Lisa is going to be crossing that finish line, and I'm going to be out there on that run course. I'm not going to be on a bike course because I still have nightmares about it, but be out there cheering them on, and helping someone else. Sometimes if you look outside yourself, you'll be able to get back to what that sport is about for you.
That is so true. That is so true. Well, Colonel Yvonne Spencer, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. I mean, seeing your journey, from beginning to DNF. I've had it too. and come back from them. So
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's a real good launching pad to now you're doing, qualified for Boston. Fast Chicks is a phenomenal organization doing really big things. So I just want to thank you again for all that you've done for the sport, and just kind of bringing it to the forefront and getting more and more of us involved in general.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, Lloyd.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
If you like the video, make sure you hit the like button, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button.